Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the community call, the Wealth Stackers community call. Today, I'm going to be talking about the power of AI and using it to create businesses that work in the age of AI. I've been building one for 2 years. It's paid my bills for 2 years. I'm not a millionaire yet off of it, but um, it is working and is growing slowly but surely. And I've used AI pretty much since day one to build it. So partly what I wanted to give people information on is how to do the same if they are interested, or just how to think about this stuff as you navigate the world as an entrepreneur, employee, whatever it is, So I want to start out by just understanding the urgency of it all. The urgency is there's not many people that don't believe there's going to be some pain in the waiting for us to understand what AI will do to society. So that means that the current jobs that are today's mainstays probably won't be in the future. And how people navigate that is going to be a problem if they don't think about the stuff I'm talking about here. They're gonna have issues when it comes time to relearn, right? Because if you have a job that's pretty simple right now, you know that your job is easy, that job is probably going away. If your job is kind of hard, it's probably going to get AI amplified. And if it's impossible, most people are not doing impossible jobs. But the truth is, we all have to start thinking about what's the impossible type jobs and how could I get better at those, or actually create them yourself, which is what entrepreneurship is. So I'll recap if you don't know already. I built this app called Stackit.ai, and the idea came from COVID. Actually, when COVID hit, Derek, what's up, man? When
Yo,
COVID hit,
yo.
I had businesses that were okay because they were mostly online and people were interacting with me. But I saw a lot of businesses that were being created or were created already, and they got hit really hard by COVID. One, by lack of products moving from places that they usually get shipped from, like China. So if you were a drop shipper or a clothing line, that really affected you because most of your stuff comes from China, and that was shut down because of COVID. You were kind of screwed. So I saw that and I said, you know what? I got to really think of a business that is going to work in this world where things could just get shut down anytime. But at the same time, I knew AI was coming. I've been creating talks about this forever. And I've been playing with the technology myself. So I knew that was coming as well. So I said, okay, what could I build that will be something people are going to need in the future, but also they can't do on their own, right? You got to be able to create things that people are not going to be able to do on their own. There's almost like this three type of skill set idea. What's up, everybody? If you have questions based on what I'm saying, stop at any time and ask. But let me make sure I got the mic right. Microphone. Okay. So if you have any questions, actually, Derek, can you make sure I can hear you?
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. All right, thanks. Thanks.
Okay, all right, we're good. We're good.
I had it on the wrong thing. So if you guys have any questions, also I want you guys to introduce each other. I know Jason, last week you introduced yourself, but I think I want to do that. As long as the group is small. As it gets bigger, it might be harder. But so okay, the idea of right now we're heading into this time where there's three types of tasks, and you got to think to yourself, what am I doing? Am I which one of these tasks? There's easy tasks, which they're pretty repetitive. Most people can do them. Some people need specific schooling to do them, but they're still pretty simple once you have that. And things like lawyers fall into that. If you think about it, like, it's not that it's easy, but it is repetitive, right? So easy tasks, hard tasks. So what that means is things that usually take groups of people to work together, and one person is hard for one person to just do that kind of thing. And then impossible task, which is like, yeah, right, that's going to take millions and millions of dollars for some startup to go and figure out, right? So if I give examples about each one of those, A simple task is every day in my job, I get this email and I need to do XYZ. I need to reach out to Betty or Todd and do XYZ. That's a pretty simple task. A hard task is okay, we need to rebuild our HR department and make it more streamlined, cost effective. That's usually a hard job where companies will bring in external consultants and stuff like that. I think those are the jobs that people are going to have to learn how to do using AI. And then the impossible jobs are the things that society has issues with and nobody has solved them yet. So when I came up with the idea for Stack, I was trying to go after the idea that most people don't save for retirement. Like they're not saving enough for retirement. And I noticed that in dealing with my dad, who had a great retirement package. He was in a great union. He had a 401k, a pension, paid off house. And I still looked at his papers and all his money and how he was going to retire. And I realized how much he was going to dip after he retired in monthly income. And I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. And he had like everything that most people don't have. What's going to happen to everybody else? So I started studying investment. And as I went through all the different investment types and I really studied that, and I'm going to make a video around that too. Maybe I get into it a little bit today, but I realized he didn't have enough of retirement. So I said, I mean, to live comfortable, of course, he's not going to be homeless, but as inflation rises, I'm not sure if he won't have to sell his home. I don't know that. And my mom, I tell them this all the time. Again, different people want to hear about different things at different times in their lives. It sucks to hear, hey, you didn't plan for retirement right when you retired already. So I'm helping my parents, but in the moment I did, I was like, wait a minute, I don't work for a company that gives me a pension. I have a 401k, but I haven't given that much to it. I don't have a paid off house. I'm gonna be in a worse situation than my parents. And I'm not in like dire straits. So I'm like, imagine most people. So I said, okay, that's an impossible problem. Okay, how can I use AI to help me make more money to retire faster? That was an impossible problem, right? So, and again, using AI a lot, I was able to start figuring it out. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about here. And again, since we're all here, you want to introduce yourselves. If not, no pressure. Um, my goal here is to help people. I don't just want to talk at the screen.
Now I'll go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, my name is Derek. You know me, but this is for
Yeah,
everybody else.
yeah, yeah.
I'm basically we have our discussions about AI off to the side, and I'm like, number one, I'm trying to find a community where we can kind of go back and forth and talk through what seems to be like one of the scariest times that
Yeah,
in human history, right?
yeah.
So I'm here to try to figure that out and try to apply that because we're if not we're gonna be screwed. So that's why I'm
But
here.
also, are you still working on your business? Want to mention
Yeah.
that? Mention your business.
Yeah, I'm working on my sneaker company, which is called Alcrego. It's named after my deceased father and brother. My dad was Al, my brother was Craig, so I kind of meshed them together, Alcrego. I was kind of working on it on a part-time basis because I was working full-time as well, but I got laid off. I didn't even get a chance to tell you I got laid off. So now I'm kind of like
Now you gotta
I
get it.
need to go. I need to go. But building a brand takes a long time, right?
Yes,
So,
yes, yes, yes.
I have to figure out a stopgap because I'm not going to be profitable selling a sneaker right now. And especially the way I also have to think about how I'm going to position the sneaker because I don't want it to be, the sneaker's not going to be a Nike. It's going to be a high end, it's going to be made with luxury materials. So it's going to be a
Mm.
luxury item. It's going to cost between 300 and 400 bucks.
Okay.
And in the way that we're going right now, with the economy and like how I see the future, I don't know how I'm going to position the brand, right? I don't know if
Okay.
everybody's going to have money to spend
But that's
on luxury goods when they're trying to survive. You know what I mean?
no,
So,
100%. And every business has to worry about that, no matter what they're in. But what you got to understand too is that, and this is something I'm currently dealing with in my business, is
mhm,
there's what's called an ideal customer persona, right? And what
mhm,
that means is what's the customer that you can make the most money off of the easiest.
mhm,
And there's luxury people, there's people who will buy stuff. And you don't,
mhm,
and what you got to really understand is how many people do you need to buy, right? Like, so if you got a $300 sneaker and you need to sell 5,000 of them, let's just say,
mhm.
there's 8 billion people in the world, like there's
That's
5,000 people. You
true.
just got to find them. And
Yeah.
partly what I'm doing right now is I think something every entrepreneur has to figure out how to do. One of the things I was going to talk about is you have to be your biggest cheerleader of your business, right? And at the end of the day, marketing and sales is on the founders. It's on the founders, um, responsibility. So
Mhm,
one of the things that I see often, I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, and they don't promote their business enough. They don't want to be the face of their business enough. But heading into the age of AI, we are heading into this time where knowing what's real is going to be hard, right? Like it's already getting to the point where I'm very trained in AI and I'm starting to not being able to tell if that's a real person or not. So there's going to be this thing of proof of humanity that I think founders are going to need to do. And that's partly why I started doing this again. Cause I said, you know what? The customer base is growing nicely and steadily. But if I'm going to grow to a, tens of millions of dollar company, I'm going to have to create a lot of content. That a lot of that is going to be AI. So I need to create a version where people could talk to me and even meet me. I'm even thinking about creating meetups because in different parts of the world or the America, because the idea of, especially when it comes to investing, which is what I'm working in, there's a lot of shady scammer type people, and they're not just gonna trust me to put money into my app if they don't believe I'm human and might have a team and all these different things. So why I bring all that up is right now, sorry you're in your spot that you're in, but you got to take it as a blessing if you can and be like, okay, the universe just gave me 24 hours a day to work on my stuff. And I know you're possibly looking for other stuff at the same time, but while you're not doing that, you have more time to one, think about your ideal customer persona. So right now, I'll give you an example. We got the company to do a good amount of revenue monthly. And I started working with a go-to-market coach to try to get it to the next level. And what he told me was, this is going to be tough for you, but you're going to have to lower your monthly recurring revenue to figure out your ICP. He said, because right now you hustled your way to get to this much monthly recurring revenue, but to get to 1 million a year in revenue, you need to really find your ideal customer persona and you need to create messaging that targets them all day, every day. Because to get from 10, 20, 30,000 a month to 90,000 a month is hard if you don't know your ICP, right? So, and that was such a fight. It took me like 6 months to really listen to him because while customers are coming in, I'm like, but I'm getting customers like this. And he keeps telling me, yes, but is this your ideal customer persona? I'm like, not really. Not really. I am helping. I need, this is why. And I'll break it down to you. The same way you got a $300 sneaker,
mhm,
I have different amounts that Stack can make based on how much people can deposit each month. So if a person is putting $100 a month, that's going to make us a certain amount of revenue. But if a company is putting $30,000 a month, that's going to make me more revenue, right? So which do you think is my ideal customer persona, right? So
mhm,
it's like I was kind of targeting the $100 a month, $500, 1,000 a month, because remember when I first built it, that was the idea. I was trying to help people that weren't investing enough. But
mhm,
once I got to a certain point of the business, it came to a point where the guy was saying, look, you could stay right here and keep trickling in these $100, $500 a month people, or you can get this to $1 million business. And what is it going to take for you to do that? Is it going to take you 10,000 people like that,
Hmm.
or a couple businesses or people with higher net worths? So I've been struggling with that for
How
months.
have you been trying to figure it out? Like, what tools are you using? Are you using AI? Are you reading books? Like, how are you
Oh
going about
God,
that?
it's a lot of AI. Like, just I have conversations with Stack. I mean, with ChatGPT, like
Hmm.
it's a person. But then I do have coaches that I get to meet with and talk about this stuff too. So the first thing I do is I think about it like, okay, I know I've been on hundreds of calls, hundreds of customers. Which ones do we make the most money from the easiest? Right? So that's how you start. But if you're not there and you're before that, then what you got to figure out is what is it going to take you to get one customer? So I want to
Hmm.
make sure Jason introduces himself too. I don't want to go too deep into it all without letting him tell you what he does. So Jason, I want to if you want to say it on camera, it's cool.
Thanks.
No
Good to
problem.
see you. I like
Hey
these.
Jason.
I got a lot out of it last week. So
Awesome.
thanks,
Thank you.
Miguel. Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I don't work for the same company anymore, so this time during the week is freed up for me. So I should be on it every week. So
All
that's good.
right, right. What's your goal now then? You're not working for the solar place?
No, I do. Yeah. So I was a W-2 employee for a residential rooftop solar company, which was
Okay.
very limiting.
Okay.
Um, so now I can provide any solar solution to pretty much anyone in the five state regions: Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, um, Maryland, and Delaware. So commercial solar is really where I'm focusing my efforts.
Okay.
Um, Residential solar has been my bread and butter, so I still do deals in that space. But there are so many incentives out there for commercial buildings to go solar that it can pay anywhere from um, so say like anywhere from 60% of the cost of the system up to 120%,
Wow.
depending on what industry you're in. So manufacturing in Pennsylvania right now has a 70% grant available, and then in addition to the tax incentives um, and accelerated depreciation benefits that you get, you can basically get the solar at no cost potentially
Oh,
to the
that's
to the
awesome.
business owner. So that's it's a huge opportunity for business owners that are paying a lot for electricity and have a tax problem. So,
Awesome. I talked to my co-founder of my nonprofit. We have a building and we get an oil bill that's insane every month. And I'm talking to him about figuring out the solar thing, but we got a little bit of crazy times in that business. But um amazing. Thank you for telling everybody. And Manuel, I'm not sure if you want to intro yourself. Manuel's on my team. He's my lead developer. So he may or may not want to speak, but he's here to answer any technical questions possibly if you have. So Manuel, it's cool if you don't want to talk. So okay, so for you, Jason, what you just said to me has a very similar connection to what I'm dealing with, right? You have an ideal customer persona. You said it. You said commercial, they have a good deal right now, and you make more money probably than with residential, right?
yeah, of course, these are much bigger systems.
Yeah.
So if I get a megawatt system, I could potentially make, 100, $200,000 on that system. So
So I'm gonna give you my exact how I'm doing it. The way it works is you find the product you think you have a market that will fit. So for you, Derek, you're making this high-end custom sneaker. For you, Jason, you're making this solar panel sale that will help them with X, Y, and Z. For me with Stack, I'm helping people get more assets faster, right? So okay, I started out, my first idea was the pay a bill thing, right? So what I did was I said, okay, how can I get people to consistently invest? Because most people just put in money sometimes. So I said, you know what? If I connect it to bills, then they're consistent, and that helps both of us, right? Because we make more reoccurring revenue, and they get more consistent growth in their portfolio because they're being consistent. So I tried that for 2 years, and I made content around it, made video, text, and I drew it back to what's called a lead magnet. And a lead magnet is a way for you to give people something that solves their problem, but then you get them as a lead, as either an email contact or actually an actual meeting. And that's how I got hundreds of customers, because I did that a lot. Like, I would just get people that I knew already invested in crypto, or that I created content, and they went into the lead magnet, and then we spoke through Zoom. And I just mentioned recently, somebody just found me through ChatGPT and got on a call with me through ChatGPT, which was amazing. So reason why I'm bringing it up is, when I first started, I thought the pay a bill thing would bring me the most customers. And I just stood with that for 2 years. Then when I met this go-to-market coach, he was like, all right, I'm going to give you 3 months to show me that that's the proper messaging. So we created a plan to create content every day, written. So every day I post almost 1 to 2 written content pieces on all social media: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Threads. I don't do it as video yet, because until I understand the right message, I don't want to do video. So I did that for months, and I was getting some leads, but they weren't my ideal customer persona. So I was telling him, look, I'm getting leads, they're just not my ideal customer persona. So he said, so you need to scrap the bill pay thing. Go back to your customers and see what they're actually doing the most. So I went through all the customers, and what I realized was, most customers, the ICPs, the ones that were making us the most money, were not paying a bill. They were borrowing more money to buy more Bitcoin and Ethereum. They weren't using it to pay a bill. So in going through that, and I spoke to him, and he's like, all right, so now let's create messaging around that idea. So over the past month, I've been posting every day around that, and I've been getting more leads. Again, we'll see if they turn into the ideal customer persona or not. But the message I already see is more clear. I'm getting a lot more inbound. Not as, I'm getting leads, but not as many calls right now. But again, this is the hardest part of any business, because you can have the best product in the world, best sneakers, best solar panels, best investment app. But if people don't know that they can benefit from it or know about it at all, it don't matter. So this is something me and Manuel have been talking about a lot, which is, it doesn't matter what you build. If you don't have the distribution to reach your ideal customer persona and iterate on that till you realize what that messaging is, and just keep doing it. Because what I learned is, this guy in the same group that I'm in, he has people that are making $10,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $1 million a month, and we're all still trying to figure out the best ICP. But what he says is, to get from 0 to 1 million, all you need is one ICP. One ICP with the right messaging could get you to $10 million of revenue. Once you get up there, then you start trying to get different ICPs, and you say, okay, now I need this type of ICP for this type of ICP for that. And then that's how you get to $100 million in revenue. You have multiple ICPs, but to get to the first 10 million, you just need one. So, but that shit is so fucking hard. That's why most people don't do it. Most people don't even make any money with their business. So the fact that you can make anything, if you even make $1, you're ahead of the game. So what I always tell people is, just figure out how to get $1. Just figure out how to get the first person to pay you, whatever that takes. Even if for you, Swift, if that means making a custom design with the person and being like, okay, I want your feedback. I actually did that in the beginning with Stack. Actually, I had a system that I was doing myself by hand, and I made a community like this, and I got on and I started showing people it, and I would get feedback, and people were like, what if it did this? What if it did that? And I would either include those things or not. But then I converted to, let's see if they'll pay for this. So I didn't have them pay for the core. I didn't have them pay for the app. I had them pay for a course that taught them how to do it. And that was how I knew if they're willing to pay for a course, they're going to be willing to pay for something that's going to actually do it for them. Because a lot of people pay for the course and didn't even do it. So that's where I was like, okay, a lot of people wanted me to do it for them. And I was like, look, it's not even legal for me to take your money and do that. So I rather either you learn how to do it or I build a platform that can do it without me touching your money. So for you, Jason, and you, Derek, and Caesar, I'm not sure if you're able to talk and tell everybody what you're building right now, but if you can, just jump in at any time. What I would say for you too is I would figure out how to create content, and that means whatever format works for you. Text is really easy now with ChatGPT, right? Like you could just say, okay, this is what I do, literally what I do every morning. Write me a hook, and ChatGPT knows my personas. It knows my ICP. So I say, write me a hook for my DCA Boost ICP. What that means is people who are dollar cost averaging and borrowing more to boost their dollar cost average. So I gave it a name in ChatGPT, so it knows that will stop them from scrolling, but also let them know by using Stack they can have 3 times more assets. So it gives me a hook. It gives me a few. Sometimes I say, give me 5. Another thing I did was, you know how you can do tasks in ChatGPT? I set a task to say every morning, give me 5 ideas before 8 a.m. So I wake up at 8 a.m. I got 5 hooks. And I look and I say, all right, I like that one. Okay, now write me a full LinkedIn post. I do LinkedIn first because my go-to-market coach said LinkedIn is the best place to start because it has the most professional, most income, right? Most social media with the most income earners. So I go there first. I put the message there, and then I did go an extra step, which I do think it makes sense for anybody to do, which is create some type of lead magnet where you can get their email. And in a way, funny enough, this community is another way of getting people's emails, right? Like I could have left the community open, but I said, no, I'm going to gate it off and people are going to have to give me their emails to be a part of it. And why? Because I want the ability to be able to talk to them later. Right? Any questions around anything I said, just stop at any time and just ask, because I'll talk forever. So the idea overall is you need to convert social media views into emails, because what ends up happening is people rarely buy the first time they see something and the first email they get. Most sales happen in the emails. So what you got to do is you got to start building up an email. And another thing I just recently launched, which I have been putting off for a long time, was my own newsletter, which is another way to get emails, right? And that was, again, I wouldn't have even been able to do a newsletter if it wasn't for AI. So I'm going to show you 2 ways I create this newsletter every week. First thing is this call. We have a live call every 12 o'clock on Monday. I take that call, I put it on YouTube. I put that in my email, and I say, hey, if you want to be part of the community and we can help you, because my ICP is an entrepreneur that has a business and can stack their first they stack their own bills, but then eventually they stack their business bills. So I'm trying to draw in entrepreneurs because that's my ICP. But at the same time, I'm an entrepreneur and I know I can help them. So I'm thinking of things that can help entrepreneurs. So once AI, that's why this whole AI thing, I said, look, I'm not just going to talk about what Stack could do for people. I'm going to try to help people in the problems they currently have. So that could bring in more entrepreneurs, because most people do not even understand yet what we do at Stack, but they understand their problem. And if I can help them solve their problem, they'll come into my ecosystem. So that to me is the one skill set I don't think any entrepreneur is going to be able to not have. Because like I said, you're going to start seeing it, and I'm going to be one of the people doing it. you're going to get flooded with entrepreneurship content. Like everybody could be a Gary Vee now. Like, because Gary Vee had this team of people recording him, editing all his content. Now you're going to be able to do that with AI. Not to say people are going to record you. You're just going to be able to talk into a camera, and then it's going to make an AI of you 1,000 times, and you could post as many as you want. It's getting better and better. I haven't done it because I haven't liked it enough, but it's pretty close. I've been playing with it for like 8 months, and it hasn't been ready, but I feel like it's right there, and I'm already testing stuff. But why I say this is I'm comfortable in front of a camera. I'm cool making videos. I hate the way I look. I hate the way I sound. I still put them up, but most people won't do that. Most people will not do that, and that's going to set you apart. So if you got another, Jason, if you got another guy selling solar in your area, but you're creating TikTok, Instagram, Facebook videos explaining this stuff, who's more likely to get the business? And it's more likely than not that that other person is not willing to do that. Just like most people are not. So this is one of the things that I'm really looking at. I'm saying, if you want to be an entrepreneur, I don't think you have a choice but to understand and start figuring out what your version of content is. There's some people that just write. They never put videos up. There's some people that just put videos. They never put text up. There's some people that make no images. But now with ChatGPT, all that shit is easy. Like, I make an image in 5 seconds, right? And of course, I'm like, oh, I don't like that one. Give me 5 more. All right, I like that one. Versus a year and a half ago, that was a whole thing. I had to hire a whole person, have back and forths, take days and days and days, cost a lot of money versus $20 a month. I'm creating like 5 images a week that I post online. I'm creating 14 social media posts that are text. Right there, that's crazy. I used to be a copywriter, I would have to pay, an image creator, I would have to pay. So I just didn't do it because I couldn't afford to do it. But now it's just an effort thing. And this is what I mean, Derek, about now you got more time. You can go in there and start seeing it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot to start producing content.
See, the thing is though, the scary part of the whole thing is if you're selling a luxury item, showing it at the beginning stages to me is a little bit dangerous, right? So
That's a
like for
good.
instance,
That's good.
if Ralph Lauren, or forget about Ralph Lauren, let's say Chanel
Yeah.
is a new brand and it just starting up and you're watching them from the ground, people are gonna say, hey, I don't feel like paying $700 for this bag necessarily, right? So how do you pump out this kind of content without compromising what you're trying to do?
All right.
That's what
All
I'm
right.
trying to.
We're gonna do another live session of
There we go.
figuring that out. Watch this. Let's do it.
That makes sense what I'm saying?
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Can you see my screen? You see
Yeah, I
ChatGPT?
see it. Uh-huh.
All right. How would you create content for a luxury brand that's just starting out, knowing that most people think of luxury as something that's important from the past? How would you do it? So first of all, I'm not sure if you watched last video, but I have this thing where you
I
just
did.
press a button and it talks to the
Hmm.
AI. You could also talk straight to ChatGPT. All right, here's a concise, structured approach to creating compelling content for a new luxury
I
brand.
can't see that, Mike.
Oh, you can't? All right, let me see. You see that?
I see it, yeah.
All right. All right, define a fresh narrative. Modern heritage blends timeless luxury values, craftsmanship. The truth with luxury, I did work for Chanel and Louis Vuitton. I think I told you about this.
Hmm.
Their watches, like they have a man in Italy making like 10 watches a day, and he makes like $200 a day. And then they go and they sell the watch for $50,000 here. What creates that luxury is the story that they've told the world about Chanel. Most people don't even fully know the story of Chanel and Louis Vuitton. They just already have been shown that this is a luxury item because of the people who wore it before them. They were told the story, and then you see the rich person wear it, so you're like, oh, this must be luxury. I want to wear it because I want to be like this rich person. So I had to really like break all this down for Louis Vuitton and Chanel when I was dealing with it, because they were putting out a watch. At that time, they were putting out a watch for men, and they weren't known for that. So it was the first man watch, but they had to compete with the Rolexes, the men watch kind of brands. So part of the work we did was trying to figure out how to make this thing feel more expensive or more valuable than a Rolex. Then there's a bunch of different names. I won't rattle them off, but Philippe Protect, all Philippe Protect, there's different levels of these like watches, 50,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. So they were in like a 50 to 75K range. So what they did was they put the story in the watch. So they basically had symbols in the watch that was stories around the Chanel brand, but connecting to men. Again, they did have the luxury of having a brand before that. It wasn't from scratch, but they were operating in a new place that they really didn't before. So they had to kind of come up with a new story to get people to even want to even look at this thing. Another thing they did was they created events where they would invite their ideal customer persona, right? So in their mind, their ideal customer persona, this was years ago, for this watch was high level CEO, people that were technical. So architects, tech founders, right? So we kind of did this work together when we were talking it out. And what my job was to do was to create an experience that when they would come to the event, I could give them the story in a cool way where they will walk away and be like, wow, that was pretty cool. So again, most of this luxury stuff is the story you tell the customer, because if I have this shirt and it's $10 and I put a Louis Vuitton logo on it, same exact shirt, now I'm buying it for $80, the story is the reason, right? The story I tell myself or the story they told me that makes me tell that to myself. So that does take time to build. And Chanel's been around for 50, 60 years. That's a multi-family history business. Louis Vuitton, I'm not sure how long that business was around. I forget. But I remember the Chanel story was her name was Coco Chanel, right? If you look up her story,
Mhm.
she went place by place selling her stuff. You should really research her story, because in the beginning,
Okay.
it wasn't what we see now. She went literally store to store to store like a psycho, selling her stuff. And again, it wasn't that different than everybody else's, but she became this like legend based on her work ethic. And that's kind of what built up that brand. So partly what I would do is this would look visual storytelling. I'm basically showing you how I would use ChatGPT to help me figure this out. Not to say you're gonna figure it out fast. Like I said, I'm still 2 years later, still trying to figure out my messaging for Stack, and I have customers. So it's not gonna happen fast, like you said in the beginning.
Mhm.
But right now, what we just spoke about, you could have that same type of conversation with ChatGPT, and it knows more than I know. I just know my interactions with dealing with luxury brands, which I was lucky enough to work with Louis Vuitton and Chanel and some other big ones. So I know most of this stuff is not, it's not that this thing is worth so much more than other things. It's that they've crafted this story. And guess what's the easiest thing to do in the history of the world right now? Storytelling, which is another part of what I believe is a skill set you have to know right now. And now with the generative AI tools, think about it. Nike creating these commercials that used to take millions of dollars. Yeah, you needed a Jordan, but they didn't have Jordan at first. They got Jordan years later once they had enough money to give Jordan money. right? So in the beginning, they were telling their story, and that one's another one. Have you? I think I remember you talking about Shoe Dog and stuff, right? Did
Yeah, I
you?
read that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
in the beginning, they were just a running shoe
Not
for
even
runners.
before that, he was just a retailer. He was selling Asics basically. He had
Yeah.
the contract for Asics in
But
like the West Coast or something like that.
what I remember about him though, and his story
Hmm.
was that ASICS something happened and he wanted to sell a running shoe just to runners, and he got connected with the Oregon team, right? And that's how he got the distribution. So those are the three things I'm telling you right now. You have to start thinking about your ideal customer persona,
Hmm.
then the stories you need to tell them, and there's AI tools for that. And that's where, like, right now, literally I just created this this script writing AI. Watch this. Check this out. This is crazy. Um yeah, this is it right here. I call it Story Spark for right now, but I'm gonna probably change that.
It's on the wrong tab, I think, Mike.
Oh, you can't see what I see?
Nah, it's showing key features, AI powered.
Oh man, so
Yeah,
you
that's
didn't
the
even
old
see
tab.
what the hell I was showing you before.
Nah, nah,
All
nah.
right. Man, my bad, my bad. All right, here it is, here it is. All right, so I'll show you what I had before just so you can see what it said there because you never saw it. Um, all right. So here's what it said to the original question we had. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So, all right. So actually, we're gonna take this. We're gonna take this. All right. Give me the first version of the story behind your brand. Just give me a quick few sentences of the story behind your sneaker brand.
Starting with like why I'm doing it or what the brand is.
I say start out with why you're doing it. It's always why.
Hmm.
There's a book you should read if you haven't. It's called Start with Why.
Hmm.
Um, it's always why is always good because that connects with people.
Okay.
So you don't got this don't got to be perfect. Just
Okay. So ultimately, I'm a sneakerhead and I kind of started out like every other sneakerhead, by not having access to any sneakers, right? Like growing
oh
up in a
shit. Wait.
family.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Okay, growing up with a family. My bad. My AI thing is not letting me let you record that. I'm trying to figure out how to make it so because I want you to speak it.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna put it in here and tell it to make me a story based on this brand.
Okay.
So wait,
Okay.
give me a second. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Settings. Because I have this thing where when I press it, it turns off all the sounds. You
Hmm.
when you take it. Yeah, this is it. All right. Okay. Say something now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Cool. All right. Got it.
All right, so I'm a sneakerhead, and my origin story is just like most other sneakerheads. Growing up in a family in the 80s without access to capital. New York City was experiencing a huge it was like a depression in New York City at the time, because you're from the South Bronx, right? So um ultimately, as time started to go on, I started to get access to sneakers that were a little better, but it had to be one per year. So I was always wanting more, but could never get it, right?
Okay. Okay.
Until one year, when I was going on every other year, I would take trips to Louisiana for the summer. And my brother bought me a pair of Huaraches for that trip.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh wow, this is actually the first kind of dope sneaker that ever had access to, right? So that kind of unlocked something for me. So going throughout life, loving sneakers, not overly obsessing about it. But then um, right before the pandemic, my brother and my father both passed away. And so I kind of wanted to do something. I wanted to, and then when the pandemic happened shortly after. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I need to do something that's a little bit more fulfilling. I don't want to just kind of be pushing papers and moving moving stacks around, right? So I kind of at that point decided that I was going to start a sneaker brand and dedicate it to my brother and my dad.
Awesome.
And I started taking custom sneaker classes during the pandemic. So I'm like, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be a luxury. It's not gonna what I'm making is not gonna be custom items. I'm
Mm.
gonna get them manufactured at the factory, but they're gonna be premium materials that I source in whether in Portugal, Italy, wherever I have to get those premium materials. Unlike Nike, who's using synthetics for all the sneakers that they make.
Okay.
So that's roughly the story. I mean, do you have any questions? It's anything that you think I left out?
No, I think basically, let's see. Of course, I got a copy here. I don't know why I didn't put it there, but
He's
okay.
gonna
So what
say
I'm gonna
there's a
do
lot of
is,
babble going on there, right?
it's fine. It's fine. What we're gonna do is, here's a live test because I built this based on. Check this out. I took the books that I thought were interesting, and I
Hmm.
asked ChatGPT for the crib notes on storytelling on the
Yeah.
books, right?
Hmm.
Put those in the chat bot. I took the podcasts that I really thought were really good around storytelling. I took the transcripts of those podcasts and I put it in the
Hmm.
chat bot. I took storyboarding boarding books, put it in the chat bot. The whole idea is I think right now we're heading into this time where storytelling is going to get easier and easier. So you're going to have to either or both be a visual presence for your brand or story
Hmm.
tell your brand, right?
Hmm.
And before that was a multi-million-dollar thing, and now it's a $20 a month subscription in a couple different places, and you could create some nice stories every month promoting your brand. So I said, okay, the hardest part though is writing the script and then storyboarding these stories. So I said, all right, I've been studying this for a while. I went to school for animation.
Hmm.
What's all the things that I learned? Let me see what I could put in the chat bot and see if it could create me story scripts. And it's been. So watch this. I'm gonna try to do it.
Okay.
What's the how you spell it? A-L, how you spell it?
ALCRAIGO.
AIGO. Like that?
IGO.
IGO.
Yeah.
Like that? Yeah, cool,
Yes.
cool, cool. All right, got it, got it.
Hmm.
Based on this story, can you make me I mean, sorry, I fucked that up. All right. Based on this information, can you make me a storytelling social media post for the sneaker brand? Let's see what it does. All right, look at that. Look at that. Here's a story. Social media post speaks to the heart of the brand. It's authentic, rooted in struggle, legacy, and elevated vision. Perfect for engaging sneakerheads and the values-driven audiences alike. Values-driven audience alike. Oh, he put South Bronx. All right, he changed that.
Because that's it, South
Yeah,
Bronx.
you said me. I still remember the first time I laced up something that made me feel seen. That's dope. Pair of Hirachis, a great gift from my brother before a trip to Louisiana. So this is again you speaking, but
Hmm.
you could take a version of this, you could read it and make a different person say it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole bunch of things, right? Before that, I got one pair of sneakers a year. Growing up in the Bronx, if I've been chasing that feeling, I feel like I've been chasing that feeling ever since. Not hype, not trends, just worth.
That's
Right,
dope.
right before the world shut down in 2020, I lost both my father and my brother. Then the pain cracked something open in me, and from it, Al Crago was born. That's fucking dope.
That's good. That's actually good.
Not just sneaker brand, a tribute to legacy,
That's good.
built with love, crafted with premium materials, designed to last. That's fucking dope.
That's good. Send that to me, actually.
Yeah, yeah, I will. And I'll send you the link to this. You could keep playing with it, different
Yeah,
ideas.
but this is the gist of what I said though. But it's kind of taking the babble out of it and the brainstorming out of it. All but
Copywriting it, like
cement.
script
Yeah,
writing it. Like, okay, so
yeah.
now I'm gonna say, okay, can you write me a script for a short social media video that will build the brand of Al Crago? you don't have to change the name each time. It knows that you're referring to it, but I'll do it. Built from legacy. All right, so there's a few things you can do in these, right? You can ask it to put the text that should be up because in social media posts, again, I'm
Mm-hmm.
studying all this shit. The first 3 seconds is what stops people from scrolling. So you got to get them in the first 3 seconds, and that's called the hook.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say, can you make a powerful hook? And what text should be on the screen when you do that? Because text also helps people stop scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Actually, I'm going to say, also, I grew up in Harlem, or the person actually, because it knows my word, it knows me.
Put Upper West Side, Mike.
OSI.
Hey. Upper West Side. Upper West
All
Side.
right.
Yeah. If you're from the Upper West Side, even though I'm like right on the border of Harlem,
Okay.
they'll
Okay.
be like,
Okay.
"You live
Yeah.
in
Yeah. You know.
Harlem."
Yeah. Don't say Harlem. Uh, this is for a friend, not me. So he grew up on the Upper West Side. Can you make the story around that? And can you give me a very interesting hook and tell me what should be on the screen text wise during that hook? So again, it's like I'm talking to an editor or
Mm-hmm.
right. I really want people to understand like this is how most people are gonna interact with this. It's not about typing. That would have took me like 5 minutes to type, right? But I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to it like I'm talking to a person,
I think that for one of the next calls, maybe next week, we could kind of go through how you create this.
Yep, yep, yep. I'll tell you. Yep, I've been showing people like you could create chatbots around almost anything. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So okay, so hook. So first it says now 1 pair 1 year. That's pretty dope. On the Upper West Side, you learn fast. Style doesn't ask if you can afford it. That's funny. 1 pair a year. NYC taught me. See, but I don't really like the fact it's kind of making it like you have to speak it. So all right, I'm gonna say, can you make it more like a Nike commercial where it's not the person speaking, it's more like show don't tell? And you took script writing classes, I remember,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you
Yeah.
know a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 1 pair. Opening hook. Early 90s NYC, rain slick pavement, a subway rumbles overhead. A kid's see, so this is the kind of shit you could take into like one of these AI generative things. And let's see, watch this. Because again, with $20, you also get the video thing for
Mm-hmm.
$20.
I
So
said last week I signed up for it.
let's check this out. Let's
Yeah.
see. Let's see what it does here. So all right, let's keep talking about that though. Okay. Oh no, wrong thing. City rumbles, footsteps breathing, on screen, 1 pair 1 year. You don't learn style from choices. You learn it from your limits. I don't know. A teenage boy watching kids outside a sneaker shop. Shoebox slid across the table, fingers brushed. So this is again based on personal style,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what I do is I go back and forth with this until I like it. I got a few
Mm-hmm.
scripts right now we're working on. I made a script. Remember, I was telling you I wanted to kind of make like an ATL show, but based on the finance stuff that I've been
That would be so
going
funny.
through.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I made a first script around that, pretty
Uh-huh.
dope. I made a script around me spending money throughout history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, this one is for Stack, where again, all this is kind of like creating content that will help people want to stack. So this
Mm-hmm.
one is like how people spent money in different times in history, right? And to
Mm-hmm.
understand that the future is people going to be spending in crypto. Whether you understand that or not, I'm going to show that path. So I just go back and forth with these things until I get a script, and then
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing around, and I showed Cedar this last week. I've been playing around with this thing called 11 Labs. You could basically actually watch this. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna say Can you just give me the script so I can have a voiceover read? Right. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna have an AI read it right now.
How
Boom.
much is that? The 11
This
Labs.
I think it's like $15 a month, something like that.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna change my voice because my voice, they didn't do my voice well. They can't do my voice. All right, so let's do this, Chris. All right, so now I'm gonna go back over here. Absolutely real script. Okay. Walking your story. That's dope. Okay, so generate speech. Let me see how much I pay. Cause I also power my phone thing using this. So I have
You
different
learn style from choices. You learn it from limits. One pair. Every year. You made them last. Because you had to. One day, a box. A gift. Not just a sneaker. A signal. That you mattered. Grief builds. Pressure refines. And legacy? Legacy doesn't ask permission. It steps forward. We don't chase hype. We craft hunger. Thread by thread. Stitch by stitch. This isn't fashion. This is memory. This is movement. This is Alcrego, built from the weight. Walk in your story.
See, that's dope, right? Like I got use your money twice
Mm-hmm.
from ChatGPT. Like I kept asking it. I can't explain how to make this. Can you make it in something simpler, simpler, simpler? And it said use your money twice. And I was like, holy shit, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Even the name stat, I was like, okay, here's what we're doing. How can you give me a name that fits? So it was giving me a bunch of names, and I was like, I kind of wanted to have a little bit more of an urban feel though.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me stack. I was like, yo, that's pretty dope. And I went with it. A lot of the copy, a lot of the thoughts is me going back and forth with this thing like a partner,
Yeah.
24/7. So yeah, that like right there, you can see how like in less than an hour about you you could push your ideas so much forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, not to say you're gonna use any of this, but you are starting to like spin the creative wheels faster than imagine all this work. How much work would this have taken? And could you do all this work with your skill set? Do you have the skill set to do all these pieces? Then let's go back to let's see if it did anything good here. So now you could literally storyboard every scene, then
Mm-hmm.
bring it in and render it. And you're gonna start seeing some of that from me. Like I'm literally playing with it. I think it's getting to the point now where you could really create some cool shit. I started playing around with figuring out if it could make it look like me.
That's funny, yo.
And I'm like, this shit. I was like,
Uh,
okay, look.
that's hilarious.
So like
Hey,
I was like,
yo,
all right, make it skit.
Hey, yo.
Yeah. And I put long hair. I forgot why, because I saw it on Instagram. It was
yo,
like
oh yeah, that's dope.
That is.
that shit did Times Square though. This is not one of the better ones though, to be honest. Sora is like one of the not good ones. The good
Mm-hmm.
one is Kling. Kling is the one that a lot of people say is the best.
Would you still use Midjourney or is that now?
I use Midjourney too. I use
Okay.
Midjourney and I use actually let's take that same message
You're gonna take it to clean?
and I'm gonna take not to click because I don't pay for Clean yet.
Okay.
Um I pay for this one though. So I'm gonna see what it creates in Midjourney. Because then you could take the image from Midjourney, bring it into Kling or Sora actually. Let's see, I can try that. But yeah, man, I think the key and again, here's another thing I got. I spoke about this last week, but this thing is fucking crazy. This pendant. So I
Mm-hmm.
go for a walk every morning and I talk out a lot of my ideas. And I also recap the interesting stuff that happened just in case it's already in here, but then I say, okay, give me the most important thing I should be working on if I want Stack to get more customers. Then after this call, I'm going to say, okay, give me the top 3 things I've either said or heard this week around creative technology, emerging technology, and financial technology. So then it's going to tell me, and that's going to be my newsletter. And that's why I couldn't do a newsletter before, because I wasn't keeping track of all this shit. But now that I just got to ask the AI, give me the top 3 things you think that people will care about, it's easy to make a newsletter. And of course, I got this video too. I could throw that video. And again, not to say that everybody's going to care about all the things, but it just gives me more content to put out and draw more people in to capture more emails. And that's really what I think the future is. And me and Manuel, we're starting to talk about making a product actually that helps you pump out content like we're talking about. Because right now, look what we just had to do. You have to create a script. Then we got to make storyboards. Then we got to pick the best video thing. That's a little bit hard. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to make an AI agent that does it for Stack. And once we get that for Stack, if people want it, we'll sell it too. But in the beginning, think about what I was saying early on. We're thinking about the things that are impossible right now or hard to do. It's not impossible to make storytelling content. It's just hard because you need a storyteller, you need a fucking director of photography, all these different things. But now, what if we create an AI agent that did all those jobs? So that's what we've been working on it for like 2 weeks. So basically, this is why I'm creating these classes and these lives. People do not understand what's possible, man. It's pretty scary what's happening, and there's not enough people talking about it in the true way, which is whatever job you're doing right now is probably going to go away. I don't care what it is right now. There's going to be a time where people are looking and saying, I could do that with AI. Why would I pay this person? Literally, this happened last week. Me and the developers, we were looking at this thing called Devin.ai. And of course, we're talking about growing our development team. Yo, this thing costs $500 a month. It could be a full developer for you for the whole month. So I'm telling my guys, like, and girl, I got a girl developer too. I'm like, we might be the end of the developers. I might not hire no more developers. It's better to just use this. So think, and that's one of the jobs that they thought would be the hardest to right? And that's it's almost there already. And I'm gonna put in today's this week's newsletter, I'm gonna put the video of the guy from Gumroad. You know Gumroad? Gumroad is this app that lets you take money, like pay for things digital. So you can buy like a digital wallpaper. You go to Gumroad, you pay $20, they give you the wallpaper. It's like a Shopify, but for digital products. That guy was breaking down how he uses Devin, and he's showing it on screen, and we're like, oh my God. It's almost like if you don't use it, you're behind a competitor that is using it. You almost have to use it. So I don't love these. I kind of like this one a little bit. But again, you keep playing with it. This is your like storyboard, right? Like director of photography, kind of storyboard, creative direction type person. And you
If you have your ideas already, let's say, can you load them and say, hey, I'm looking for it to be like this?
Yep. Unless it's copyrighted. Unless it's copyrighted stuff.
Yeah.
But you can put it and say, use this as a reference.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
This is a reference. I'm trying to.
So
I
let me
want it
see.
to look and feel like this, but I want it to be from this angle.
So all right, I'm gonna try that right now. Oh damn, I didn't do it right. All right, I'm gonna try that with this right now. I'm gonna say style reference. You saw? I put that in style reference. I say, but I want this to be an M and I want there to be an angle to it, and I want it to be in blue, mostly like sky bluish. I don't want pink. And let's see what happens. What's this? Oh, this is took prompts. Okay, so basically when I dragged it here, it told me the full prompt they used
Mm.
to get it and different prompts like it. Because then you could press this and it gives you the whole thing again, and you can say, let's see if I just press it again. So yeah, man, I just think the truth is whatever you're doing right now, you almost have to have AI as a partner. And if you don't think about it that way, you're losing so much speed to whatever you're trying to create. Like if you could see, in just an hour, and that's just us talking. Imagine like I do this almost all day, every day. It's actually bad. I gotta start hanging out with my friends more. I'm talking to AI more than any human in my life. So, I mean, it's good and bad, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think we have a lot of time though. I'm
See,
looking at
that's the thing. It sounds like what I'm hearing is 2 years or less. 2 years or less, and this is really gonna not
that
change how
depends.
everything is.
That depends on what you're doing. Like certain things more like electricians, they got a little more time.
Mm-hmm.
Making robots that could do that kind of work, they got a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually looking up how, all right, can I buy an electrician company? Because I think that is going to be the type of business that sticks around. There's always going to be power issues. Robots are going to take a while before robots could do that. But
Mm-hmm.
like lawnmowers, like if you got a lawnmowing business, I think AI is coming for that quicker than electricians.
Yeah, I actually saw a robot that was like, you know how you have the robots that sweep and mop?
The
I saw
Zoom.
one like that's mowing lawn. So that's coming.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's where it depends on what it is. But no matter what, it's gonna touch everything. It's like
Mm-hmm.
electricity. Like every single thing is gonna be touched by it. And you could decide to be a Mormon and say we're not doing electricity here. You could decide that, but I don't know. I don't really want to live like a Mormon. And I do think that's gonna be a thing though. I think people are gonna come up to the fork and say, I don't want to integrate with AI as much. I'd rather just stay how we are right now. And those people, I don't know how those people are going to find jobs, to be honest. I don't know what could that person possibly do for money? I was in Austin, I was in Texas like months ago. I get into Uber and the guy has a nice car, and I was like, how is it Ubering here? Like I heard you guys got the AI cars already.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, man, you're gonna see them. You're gonna see them while you're here. And I'm like, so what's your plan? He's like, dude, I don't know, man. I just bought this fucking car too, and I paid a lot thinking I was gonna Uber. Literally just bought it. And now I'm
That's
seeing
crazy.
all these things. I'm like, yo, right now, you need to right now start thinking about what you're gonna do while you're getting money to transition to something else. Because if you already see the AIs on the road that are coming for your
Mm-hmm.
shit, you can't be a fucking put your head in the ground person, you know? So again, each of these, like this is kind of dope. Actually, this is dope. So again, not everything's gonna come out good. But what it is concept art, idea back and forth, written, visual, video. Just think about how much that would have cost before. Like my whole company was based on doing this for like mad dough. And that's why I kind of stopped doing that business. Because once I
Mm-hmm.
realized this was coming, I'm like, why are they gonna pay us when they're gonna be able to do it themselves, or they're gonna hire somebody inside the company for cheaper than they pay us? It's just a matter of time. I better figure out the next thing. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where with Stack, I'm thinking things that are like 5 years ahead that most people don't even know they need, can't possibly do themselves, even if they wanted to. And that's what we work on every day. And now even building shit that companies are likely to not be able to do themselves. And if we like it, we'll sell it as a product to them, right? And that's the future of how it all goes. But all right, so we've been here for like an hour 15. I didn't want to go too much over an hour. C's, you got any questions? Jason, you got any questions before we leave? Even you, Swift, any questions?
No, I'm good. I'm good. All good. It's cool to see somebody else talking.
Swift, thanks
Thank
for being the guinea pig today.
Amen.
And yeah, man, remind me, because again, this is one of my limits that I know I'm doing bad, is following up on the things I said I would give people. That's partly one of the things I got this for, but you know me, you can text me. So I'll send you the stuff, I may actually make a video on making these chatbots, because there's been like 6 different people who asked me this. So I may make like a little 5-10 minute thing that shows how to do it. And so you don't gotta sit here for an hour, you can just watch a 5-minute thing. Cool.
But with the chat box, chat bot, does the $20 one does that, or you have to do the $200 one?
$20 one.
Okay.
So
I'm on my. Oh yeah, what's your thing?
to use it though, you don't need to. I don't think you need to pay $20 to use it. You need to pay $20 to make it.
No, that's what I'm saying. To create one for
Yeah,
yourself.
to create one, you have to. Yeah, you have to pay the 20. One of the guys was just doing one for credit repair. One of my boys, and he had to pay the 20.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So good shit. All right. See you guys next week, and of course, hit me up in between if you need anything or you have any questions.
Cool. Good looking out, Mike.
Real quick, wish me
Yeah.
luck. I start my new job today.
Good luck, C's. What
Yeah.
you want to say? What the job is?
Seton Hall. I'm doing security for Seton Hall.
Seton Hall,
luck,
Jersey.
yo.
Jersey.
Yeah, Seton Hall University. Yeah.
Nice. Good luck.
Good luck,
Love it.
man.
Thank you, brothers.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace. C.
All right.
Peace.
Later.
Derek. All right. Bye, Jason.
Peace. Yo.
You guys, thanks.
All right. I gotta figure out how to turn this off. All right, here it is.